Being in a wheelchair means you have to be careful. Being in a wheelchair means your movements will be restricted. Being in a wheelchair means you should be nice to anyone else on wheels. Being in a wheelchair means people should be careful what they call you, unless you're part of the British wheelchair rugby team.
What do you guys call yourselves? I said veggies, crips, raspberries. He said, but we can't call it that, can you? I said, well, you can, but it's not going to come across very good on the telly.
This is what I'm going to go for.
Okay.
Alright, what it is, that's the British Lion. It's the new logo for the Paralympics,
okay.
The lion's head. And then behind is the torch.
Yeah, I think the torch,
yeah. And then obviously the rings and everything.
Troy Collins has a plan. His neck may have been broken, but he still wants a gold medal round it at the Paralympics. Just in case it slips his mind, he's decided to jot down a reminder.
It's like worse than preparing for a tournament. I'm never this nervous before a tournament. The Olympics, the Paralympics, you know, it's the biggest sporting event in the world. Right? Everyone wants to go there. And the reason that I get the tattoo done is because, you know, in 20, 30 years' time, when I'm sitting at home and I see that, happen to see it in the mirror or whatever, I can turn around and just say, you know, that was the year that I went to Athens and we won gold medal. My hands are going white because I'm grabbing the inside of my chair. I'm squeezing so hard. At the beginning when you start, I think, oh, this is not that bad. I can't feel anything. But then the neck, man. So sore, my head.
Troy was born in England but brought up in South Africa. He came back here 10 years ago and now feels like a thoroughly British chap, going to the last Paralympics in Sydney for Team GB.
This bottom picture, that's myself and Tony in our Paralympic tracksuits, wearing these caps that we got presented with, which was really awesome because it was like you're representing your country for the first time in the biggest tournament, you know, in the whole world, and you know, you're getting presented with your first cap, you know, to acknowledge your achievements and of being selected. Wheelchair rugby is my life. I mean, it's everything. I mean, I eat, sleep, talk wheelchair rugby. I mean, that's all I live for. You know, I train really hard. You know, can train up to 6 days a week, and it's all I want to do, and I love it. But also, it goes a lot deeper than that. I mean, the people that I play with, it's like my adopted family.
Part of the extended family is Jason Roberts. A self-confident competitor, he's also keen on backing the talents of other professional sportsmen.
Fallon, mate. Which one do you want? Tenner on Fallon. Tenner on Fallon. Which one's Fallon? King Arthur. Number one, a tenner. Yeah. There you go. Good luck. Yeah, cheers, man. Treble today, I think. 7 to the field! Savamio Tony's going to win this one, I'm telling you. Yeah, I was looking at that one, yeah. You reckon? Who's number 8? It's good wee girl. Come on, Fallon.
You know, I've always been into horses all my life, really. You know, my family comes from a background of horses. Both my grandfathers were real big horsemen, and my dad used to own quite a few. And I used to ride a lot before my accident. I used to really like it, you know. I really miss riding, I really do.
The outside is gaining ground, it's going to be tight. Good Wee Girl and River Liffey, they come to the line. Good Wee Girl just from River Liffey, then into Braun and in fourth Arabian.
Number 8, though.
Jason's medals, he's gold on the one side, he's silver and he's bronze. He's got a few that he's won for 1.5 pointers and best rookie of the year. He's got quite a few of those that he's had. And every time he brings them back, I try to get one place to keep them together because we've got them all over the house. But very, very proud of him.
Tracksuits, caps, all sorts of gear. We're not allowed to wear it anywhere other than if we have press interviews or anything. So we get caught wearing it beforehand, we can get in trouble apparently. I don't know. You don't get to wear this stuff every day, you know what I mean? There's not many people who've got this. This is just for like Paralympic athletes every 4 years. There's not that many that go.
In Atlanta I didn't make that, like obviously because I was in hospital in '95. But then Sydney, I came out and I started playing again in '99 early, and it was too late to get selected. So I've been waiting another 4 years for it now. Yeah, it's a real big thing to me.
10 seconds, get ready!
For Jason and the rest, Athens now represents their best chance for some global recognition. 4 years ago in Sydney, they didn't get a medal. New players had to be found and the training regime racked up. A gold at the Paralympics would be their equivalent of Martin Johnson holding up the World Cup in Australia in the 15-man game. One of the new faces they tried was a former chef, James Price.
When I was a kid, well, I played rugby on quite a high level when he was young, so I kind of, every Sunday afternoon, I'd have to sit there in front of the TV and watch rugby or watch sport of some kind. I suppose when you grow up with that, you kind of feel inclined to do some kind of sport, and I hate football. So rugby was kind of the thing to go for, plus the contact. Wait. Hey, straight. One. Yeah, I try and come up here every day just to, it's a good excuse to get out. I mean, one thing you can't do very much when you're in a chair is get out and do some cardiovascular work. So in the gym, all you've got is like normal weights. I mean, down here, they're not really kitted out with people in wheelchairs. So there's no cardiovascular machines anywhere down in Torbay. So it's bringing the dog out gives me a chance to get out, burn a few calories. Saves me actually sitting at home and getting stupendously fat. I'm quite a vain person, so I like to keep fit, go to the gym. And wheelchair rugby, it's a good excuse to eat healthy, it's a good excuse to be fit, it's fun, it's enjoyable, and you get to whack the crap out of people, which is great. Wait. Good lad. Come on, Cass. Come on, man. I was always a very good swimmer, always used to love the water. And it never used to matter really how rough the sea was, because we used to go in some quite silly conditions sometimes. And it never used to faze me, I used to love it. You know, the more danger, I suppose, the better. And I suppose, yeah, the thrill-seeking kind of cruised on from there. We used to go to Berry Hill and jump off pretty ridiculously sized cliffs, which I look at now and think, you fool. But at the time was cracking, great fun. The tide was in, then we'd be straight up the cliffs and finding the most ridiculous jumps, which had stupid names like Grass Bank and Arse Wrecker and Mongo, and how I didn't do some kind of mad injury there, I don't know.
In the end, a more innocent escapade changed the direction of James's life, on holiday with his girlfriend in Mallorca.
We went for a pedalo ride around the bay, and I remember getting off the pedalo, and that was probably the last time I can remember feeling my legs was coming off there, because the pedalo was such hard work that my legs were killing me. I remember saying to Jenny, my legs are killing me. So I went, right, I'm just going to go and cool off in the water, ran and dived in. As I was diving, I remember opening my eyes and looking down thinking, that's not deep enough. It banged my head, and I'm not sure how I landed or what the whole position was, but I was facing the beach after running away from it, so I assume I'd done some kind of roly-poly. I suppose the instant thing was panic, but you're panicking and your body's not responding, it wasn't moving, all I could do was sort of get my head up. Pain was just excruciating, I cannot explain how painful it was. The pain was shooting up the back of my neck. I couldn't move any part of my body. So she went and got the lifeguards then found the ambulance. And then the ambulance came, pumped me full of drugs, and that was it, knocked me out clean cold.
Troy Collins broke his neck playing rugby in South Africa.
Went on the field, I was on for about 5 minutes. It was the first scrum down that we had. Scrum collapsed because the whistle didn't go. Both teams carried on pushing, and I think that's when I broke my neck. It was either the way that I fell or because of the force from both teams. I remember screaming. I just remember screaming all the time and saying to everyone, like, get me up, because like all I could feel was pain.
Jason had only just turned 18 when he was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I was a passenger, and we were just going down to the garage. It wasn't like no one drunk or no dodgy situation really. And then we lost it here, and this is where we rolled down, all the way down here. Keep going and going and going and going and going to there, right at the bottom, just there. It's quite a way down, really. So I suppose all four of us are lucky to be alive. But thankfully everyone else was okay. You know, I got it, but I'm okay. So we all did pretty lucky out of that, I think.
I remember waking up in the X-ray department and screaming and shouting and wanting to know what's going on.
Because I'd swallowed seawater from being in the water, I caught pneumonia, so both my lungs collapsed. So they put chest drains into my lungs, and I had electrodes sort of in everywhere and a respirator in my mouth. So for 3 weeks basically I was sort of face down, mouth open with a respirator and waiting for the air ambulance home. Which wasn't a very nice time, to be honest with you.
All you can think of is, you know, like my life's screwed basically, you know, that I'm never going to walk again. I basically said to my brother I wanted to end my life because I didn't want to carry on. I didn't want to carry on with life having people look after me.
I do remember thinking to myself, what's worth staying alive for at this moment? I'm probably better off just to, you know, end it. So I had a respirator in my mouth, so I bit the respirator in half. Because that was what was keeping me alive, it was pumping air into my lungs. So I bit it in half, obviously all the machines went off and they came in and just shoved a bigger one in my mouth and I was like, gob open. So from there on I kind of had no choice in the matter.
In the beginning I blamed so many people, but you can't look at it and blame anyone. You know, at the end of the day, I chose to play rugby and it was just one of those freaky accidents. And all you can hope for is that the people around you, your friends and your family, are there to help you through it.
Oh, good boy.
For most, friends and family remain close, but James's girlfriend left him while he was still recovering in hospital.
It was the last thing I was expecting. You know, and it absolutely gutted me, but in a way it took my mind off of being disabled. Because I was more off of that was finishing than I was about being in the situation I was. To be honest, if I was in her shoes, I don't know how I would feel about the situation. So she probably did the best thing, even though I didn't really accept that at the time. I do now, I realise now totally, but when you're in a room 23 hours a day, apart from the hour you're allowed to go to the gym, what else are you going to do on your own twiddling your thumbs apart from think about what you did have and what you haven't got now? You are in a chair, you do lose all your confidence, you do get the old, oh, it's because I'm disabled and blah, blah, blah. You don't think there's any chance of, you know, sorting your life out. Until you get it into your head and get your confidence back, then you're going to think like that, and that's how I felt. Then when I started living my life, I had great friends, so they took me out all the time, and it's more a case of just getting used to your own situation, getting used to everyone looking at you in a chair, and once you sort of learn to let that ride, then you can start getting on with your life and being yourself again.
Mitsubishi Evolution 8. Bit of a beast, moves on. But I only drive slow all the time, as you know. I love cars, but you know, I love any car. I'm into like sports cars and old cars, anything at all. I just like stuff that pushes you to the limit, really. I didn't have no problem with getting back in a car at all. I'd already had my car delivered to the hospital before I left, with the hand controls and everything adapted.
The car wasn't the only thing delivered to the hospital. Jason got a message from those spinning round the sports hall next door.
The guys used to come down there and train a couple of times a week, and they'd come through looking for people who've just had injuries and, you know, asking them to play or come down and see it being played. And I seen it and I thought, yeah.
The biggest influence on me was when other patients used to come back into the hospital, and they'd come down the wards and talk to you, and they could tell you about life afterwards. So straight away when I used to go up to the hospital to train, he was always interested who the latest person was in with a neck injury. One, because you could have a chat with him. Two, there might be a possibility that you could get him out of bed and come and play for your team. Could be a good player. I would tell him a bit about the sport, tell him that we play sport, and I said, come along and have a look at it.
It was something that was introduced to me when I was very first up in the spinal unit in Stoke. But at the time I still had my tracheotomy. And at that time I suppose I wasn't really accepting the whole wheelchair thing. And the last thing on my mind was jumping in a chair and playing a sport in front of loads of people. Because in a way, your reaction to being disabled is also, it's pretty much one of embarrassment. You're embarrassed to be seen in a chair. Because all your life you've lived, as a normal chap. And you don't expect to have to be pushed along by somebody in a chair. And it's not something you want to highlight. Well, I certainly didn't anyway.
Some people want to talk to you, some people don't. Obviously, people take it in different ways. Some people are depressed, don't want to talk. Other people, picking your brains about everything.
Left hospital, went back home, and it was at that time they were just starting the GB development team. So they were looking for brand new players. And because I was more used to being in the chair, I was like, yeah, great, I'll jump in it and give it a crack.
James was part of a group of new players who went to South Africa for a taste of international competition.
The highest point on Table Mountain is out there to the right.
But the calm voice of the tour guide, the peace and tranquility of mountain air, soon transformed to the stickier atmosphere of the field of play and a barking coach.
If there's one thing you can get out of your minds now is get rid of holiday fever, all right? Get wheelchair rugby fever into your heads. None of this about dropping balls everywhere. Make it your priority to catch the thing.
Participation in the pre-game lung test was compulsory. The team knew the basics. 4 players on each side then get the ball over the line to score. But the only way to stop the opposition was to block them, a skill that took some time to develop.
Slow down, guys. This is just nerves, all right?
Sometimes the hardest lessons are learnt in defeat.
Go guys, chin up!
Primarily, the tour was about testing the players at international level, but it also gave them a taste of the highs and lows of life on the road as an athlete in a chair.
Come on, guys!
The highs, a bit of attention from the local media.
Get all your aggression out in this game. I don't know, I don't need to have the ump and be aggressive outside of this game. I just do it all on the court.
I'm a very aggressive person, just in normal life, so this sport suits me to a T, because I can go out there and really give it some, And
their chair is basically designed so my chair cannot stop their chair, ideally. So these metal plating around here, around the other side, and around the back, is stopping me from getting in here. So basically I want to try and stop him stationary if I can.
The lows, being booked into hotels built without a thought to life in a chair.
That's it, don't worry.
That is not happening.
Oh, the door opens out. Right then, the door opens out. And then you got the toilet stuck in there, which is about 20 miles away.
I got money, so I'm going to go and stop in a decent hotel. 5-star hotels in this country cost 20, 30 quid a night. We're stopping in about a £3 a night hotel, I reckon.
Let's get a taxi cab number. I'm not staying out. I can't even get up the slope.
People in wheelchairs were involved in getting this tour sorted, and all it would have took, one question what I do when I go anywhere over the world is, could you tell me if your bathroom door is so width and can I get in? That's all. One question. Cut my arse open already getting on the bog in Australia because it was so difficult. I'm not doing it again.
Smash the window and transfer onto the floor of the shower.
I'm going into a 5-on-5. The best hotel in Cape Town I'm moving into, mate. The best. I don't care what it costs me. I've had enough of living like a tramp.
With the rebellion over, back in Britain they were brought into line. Those that survived had to get down to the business of winning a medal at the Paralympics. A full-time schedule with a considerable amount of kit.
The majority of people that play wheelchair rugby are paralysed from the chest down. That'll mean they have no trunk muscle, like stomach muscle, balance. So this actually gives you artificial trunk. Yeah, you can lean forward, recover, and stuff like that. Whereas if I didn't have this strap on, I'd just be a way out of it.
Like able-bodied rugby, physical contact is all part of the game, and being in a chair doesn't mean the training's any less intense.
There's a bit of tiredness settled in.
Yeah, a lot of tiredness. We've been away 10 days and I just want to go home, so we're watching the clock ticking away. I mean, we've been up since 6 o'clock, we've been swimming, we've been doing weights and playing on court, and it's just burnout time. Tired and time for home. Some people think that you do wheelchair sport as a social thing. You know, they think that you can go to the Paralympic Games just because you're in a wheelchair. They don't realise that any training or anything like that goes behind it. And you get other people this attitude like, oh, at least it's getting them out and about. Or, isn't that bloke brave? And these are the sort of, this just remarks me like, we don't look for that sort of thing. We train like anybody else. We're athletes now, and we have to live an athlete's lifestyle.
It takes up all the time. You know, if you want to be at this level, you've got to give up everything else.
Kind of blew Heidi also. What? Yeah, we had a big huge fight. Oh man, that's on the box for you. I said, like, you wanting me to give you more than what I can give you. I said, the only thing that's on my mind at the moment is that. I said, I don't want to have a relationship.
So let's get flip that.
Well, it's true though, I mean, and she's the one that said she didn't want to have a relationship anyway.
And now she does.
And now she's like, you know, I'm not giving her enough time. We don't do anything together. I'm like, because I'm too knackered.
I was so selfish.
I am, I'm very selfish. With the amounts of training that we're doing, you don't have a social life. You know, I don't drink, and I haven't had a drink this year, and you don't get to see your friends as much as you'd like to see. And you just don't get to go out because you know, you're always training, and when you're not training, you're so knackered that you're trying to catch up on, you know, catch up on your rest.
My family life, my social life, especially this year, every time the kids have been on holiday, whether it be a bank holiday or school holiday, I seem to be away. You know, I've missed being at home with Jack. I'm in to leave her all the time. More our disagreements is on the eve of when I'm going somewhere, innit?
Yeah.
We both feel it. I mean, as much as I like going away and playing abroad, you know, we're setting up at home together, and I don't like, we're having things done. I don't like leaving Jack in, you know, at home with, when it's everything's upside down. I mean, as a man, I feel I want to be there, you know, keeping my eye on things, and it is hard.
Particularly hard for some. Because James effectively broke his own neck, he doesn't get as much compensation as those whose injury was someone else's fault. Under pressure to earn a living, James began his own business, and wheelchair rugby took a back seat. In May, the squad was narrowed down to the final 12 for Athens. James missed the cut.
I would have loved to go to Athens, most definitely. But when it comes to playing wheelchair rugby, I, in a way, had to make a decision as to whether do I be skint and spend the only benefits that I get on petrol each weekend, or do I think about my future and could try and make something of my life, because you don't get paid hundreds of thousands of pounds for playing wheelchair rugby.
Chill out for a summer match.
Bars, drinking as usual.
Doing what the actual Paralympics can't do. I'm still allowed to drink, so. Them boys are sweating away in the gym.
What James missed were a final few weeks marked by the burden of hope and expectation. The pressure showed in training.
Let's bring it in, White. Bring it in. Lads, calm down, bring it in a minute.
Yeah, I think we're getting really itchy now, you know, it's the last few weeks and we just want to get there and get our job done, really.
The job involves early matches through the Athens rush hour. With a 2-hour time difference, the coach decides to prepare by getting them up early.
Well, good morning. It's now the 5th day that we've woken up. It's been waking up at 4:30 in the morning. Finding it very, very difficult, as you can tell. You know, I'm really excited, really nervous. Starting to get like a lot more nervous than what I usually am. It's a bit scary, actually. You know, I mean, it's starting to feel the pressure.
And things are getting really tough now. There's a big strain on all the players because I seem to spend all my week at camp wanting to get back home, and then when I go back home there's a lot of pressure because I've been away and there's a lot of things to be done and I can't relax even when I get home, and we end up falling out, and then I just wish I was back at camp again.
With so much pressure, the team had to be sure they weren't just physically conditioned, but also mentally prepared.
For the World Championships. But essentially, all we want is very sort of short, sharp statements about what sort of messages you want to send out. When people look at Team GB in Athens, what is it you want them to see?
I think when we get there this time, we ain't got no friends until after we've got this gold, and then we can start mixing. But while we're away, the only friends that we've got are each other. The rest.
I want the opposition to be scared of coming and talking to us.
Before we go out to Athens, every single one of us need to go out thinking we are going to win gold. You know, because it's a positive attitude.
They're about to find out whether they really are formidable and intimidating. Just going to the Paralympics isn't enough for this lot. Since their accidents, they've had to reinvent themselves and want to make the most of life on wheels.
There's not many people who get to stay in that Olympic village and do all that. So it's a real #1 achievement.
They will be round shortly to pack the wheelchair.
I suppose really when I look back, 25 years of rugby is where it's all been heading, and when I get the medal, then all the time I've put in, the time I've had to leave family and friends and not see the kids grow up like I should, will hopefully make it worth the while when I get a medal around my neck.
It's been an up and down, you know, sort of roller coaster ride, but you know, you got to take the lows with the highs, and I wouldn't change any experience that I've been through. I mean, people often joke and say, like, you know, if you could walk tomorrow, like, would you? And I don't know. I think, you know, I don't think I would, because life's just so great at the moment.
Don't you know? You got me moving much too slow.